सत्वं रजस्तमयिति निर्गुणस्य गुणत्रय स्थितिसर्गनिरोधेषु गृहीता मायया विभो। सत्वं रजस्तमयिति निर्गुणस्य गुणत्रय स्थितिसर्गनिरोधेषु गृहीता मायया विभो। सत्वं रजस्तमयिति निर्गुणस्य गुणत्रय स्थितिसर्गनिरोधेषु गृहीता मायया विभो। Translation purport by Srivan Giresa by Charnaravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Synonyms: Sattvam, the mode of goodness.
Sattvam, the mode of goodness.
Raja, the mode of passion.
Raja, the mode of passion.
Tama, the mode of ignorance.
Tama, the mode of ignorance.
Iti, all these.
Iti, all this.
Nirgunasya, of the transcendence.
Nirgunasya, of the transcendence.
Gunatraya, or three qualities. Sthiti, maintenance. Sarga, creation.
Sarga, creation.
Nirodeshu, in destruction.
Nirodeshu, in destruction.
Grihita, accepted.
Grihita, accepted.
Maya, by the external energy.
Maya, by the external energy.
Vibho, of the Supreme.
Vibho, of the Supreme.
Translation, please repeat after me. The Supreme Lord is pure.
The Supreme Lord is pure.
Spiritual form. Transcendental to all material qualities. Yet for the sake of creation of the material world and its maintenance and annihilation, he accepts through his external energy.
He accepts through his material energy.
External energy. The material modes of nature called goodness, passion, and ignorance.
The material modes of nature called goodness, passion, and ignorance.
Purport. The Supreme Lord is the master of the external energy manifested by the three material modes, namely goodness, passion, and ignorance.
The Supreme Lord is the.
And as master of this energy, he is ever unaffected by the influence of such bewildering energy. The living entity.
Never bewildered by the influence of this.
Purport here. The living entities, the jivas, however, are affected by or susceptible to being influenced by such modes of material nature. That is the difference between the Lord and the living entities. The living entities are subjected by those qualities. Although originally the living entities are qualitatively one with the Lord. In other words, the material modes of nature being products of the energy of the Lord are certainly connected with the Lord. But the connection is just like that between the master and the servants. The Supreme Lord is the controller of the material energy, whereas the living entities who are entangled in the material world are neither masters nor controllers. Rather, they become subordinate or controlled by such energy. Factually, the Lord is eternally manifested by his internal potency or spiritual energy, just like the sun and its rays in the clear sky. But at times he creates the material energy as the sun creates a cloud in the clear sky. As the sun is ever increasingly unaffected by a spot of cloud, so also the unlimited Lord is unaffected by the spot of material energy, manifested at times in the unlimited span of the Lord's rays of Brahma Jyoti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Sri Mate Jaya Pathaka स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमो आचार्यपदाय निताय कृपप्रदायिने गौरकथादामदाय नगरग्रामतारिणे नमः विष्णुपदायां कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यबाधे पाश्चात्यादेशतारिणे जय कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम हरे राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम हरे राम 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 हरे हरे हरिहराय नम कृष्ण यादवाय नम हरे गोपाल गोविंद राम श्रीमधुसूदनम् मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुलं गायते गिरिमत्कृपातमं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्यमेश्वरम् Hari Om Tat Sat. So it's a very beautiful verse. And the Supreme Lord is pure spiritual form, transcendental to all material qualities, yet for the sake of the creation of the material world and its maintenance and annihilation, he accepts through his external energy the material modes of nature called goodness, passion, and ignorance. So Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwara, they are the directors of creation department, maintenance department, and annihilation department. Annihilation also required. That's one of the business of Krishna for the material world, not in the spiritual world. There is no annihilation in the spiritual world. So, because everyone has come here to lord it over the material nature, so there must be ultimate situation when it becomes intolerable. So Krishna has annihilated, finish. So, see in Kalki Avatar, Dasavatara Sostra say, Mlecha Nivahani Dhane Kalaya Sikarvalam Dhumake Tumiva Kim Apikaralam Keshavadruta Kalki Sharira Jayo Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Prabhu Jai Jagadish Hare. O Keshava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who have assumed the form of Kalki, all glories to you. You appear like a comet and carry a terrifying sword for bringing about the annihilation of the wicked barbarian men at the end of the Kali Yuga. So Milecha, when the people will become Milecha, means those who are not following the Vedic principles, those who are following the Vedic principle, they are called Guna Karma Vibhagasha, 4 divisions. Otherwise, they are Shudra, Milecha, Chandala, to annihilate he comes. So this annihilation is part of the program of Krishna. To the persons who are ignorant of your actual transcendental position, O my Lord, you appear as part of the material world, manifesting yourself by the expansion of your inconceivable energy. Thus, for the creation of the universe, you appear as me, Brahma. That is, Brahma is speaking these words. For its maintenance, you appear as yourself, Lord Vishnu. And for its annihilation, you appear as Lord Trinetra, Shiva. So this is the beautiful words by Brahma to Lord Vishnu. And, that is in the Dasamastanta. In 7th canto also, it is said, when the Supreme Personality of Godhead creates different types of bodies, offering a particular body to each living entity according to his character and fruitive actions, the Lord revives all the qualities of material nature, Sattvagun, Rajogun, and Tamogun. Then, as the super soul, he enters into the each body and influences the qualities of creation, maintenance, and annihilation, using Sattvagun for maintenance, Rajogun for creation, and Tamogun for annihilation. So this is how he conducts Maya Diktena Prakriti Suyate Sacharacharam Hvetunanena Kaunte Jagat Viparivartate. So the entire material nature is working under my direction, O son of Kunti, and it is producing all moving and non-moving things, beings. By its rule, this manifestation is created and annihilated again and again. So in this way, the gunas, are utilized. He influences the guna. It is not the gunas will influence him. That is impossible. That is why in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said about this, how assuming the form of Rudra, he will destroy his own creation. Rudra Rupadari Kore Jugat Samhara Srishti Sthiti Pralaya Icha Yayanara. Assuming the form of Rudra, he destroys the creation. Thus, creation, maintenance, and dissolution are created by his will. So that is Krishna. So this is how he is maintaining, creating, annihilating again and again repeatedly for the living entities to finally come back to Krishna and surrender himself unto him. So this is the whole process. This is the purpose. So let's go to the next verse. 2.5. 18, 19 we'll go to. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 5, verse 19. Let me share the screen. I think the screen is not shared. Yeah. Karyakarana kartrutve, Karyakarana kartrutve, Dravya Jnana Kriyasraya, Dravya Jnana Kriyasraya, Badnanti Nityada Muktam, Badnanti Nityada Muktam, Mayinam Purusham Guna, Mayinam Purusham Guna, Karyakarana Kartrutve, Karyakarana Kartrutve, Dravya Jnana Kriya Ashraya, Dravya Jnana Kriya Ashraya, Badnanti Nityada Muktam, Badnanti Nityada Muktam, Mayinam Purusham Guna, Mayinam Purusham Guna, Karyakarana Kartrutve, कार्यकारणकर्तृत्वे द्रव्यज्ञाना क्रियाश्रया द्रव्यज्ञानक्रियाश्रया बध्नन्ति नित्यदा मुक्तम् बध्नन्ति नित्यदा मुक्तम् मायिनं पुरुषं गुणा मायिनं पुरुषं गुणा. Synonyms: karya, effect; karana, cause; kartrutve, in activities; dravya, material; jnana, knowledge; kriya, ashraya, manifested by such symptoms; badnanti, conditions; nityada, eternally; muktam, transcendental; Mayinam, affected by material energy; Purusham, the living entity; Guna, the material. Translation. And please repeat after me. These three modes of material nature, being further manifested as matter, knowledge, and activities, put the eternally transcendental living entity under the conditions of cause and effect and make him responsible for such activities. Purport.
Because they are between the internal and external potencies, the eternally transcendental living entities are called the marginal potency of the Lord. Factually, the living entities are not meant to be so conditioned by material energy, but due to their being affected by the false sense of lording it over the material energy. They come under the influence of such potency and thus become conditioned by the three modes of material nature. This external energy of the Lord covers up the pure knowledge of the living entities eternally existing with him. But the covering is so constant that it appears that the conditioned soul is eternally ignorant. Such is the wonderful action of Maya, or external energy manifested as if materially produced. By the covering power of the material energy, the material scientist cannot look beyond the material causes, but factually, behind the material manifestations, there are Adibhuta, Adhyatma, and Adidaiva actions, which the conditioned soul in the mode of ignorance cannot see. The Adibhuta manifestation entails repetitions of births and deaths with old age and disease. The Adhyatma manifestation conditions the spirit soul, and the Adhidaiva manifestation is the controlling system. These are the material manifestations of cause and effect and the sense of responsibility of the conditioned actors. They are, after all, manifestations of the conditioned state, and the human being's freedom from such a conditioned state is the highest perfectional attainment.
Hari Om Tat Sat. Very beautifully Prabhupada has explained in his purport. Very wonderful. And in the translation itself, we are seeing that how these three modes of material nature is manifesting as matter, knowledge, and activities. So, the knowledge is Satugun, activities Rajogun, and manifested as matter is Tamogun. So these three modes of material nature is manifesting as this matter, knowledge, and activities. In this way, it is putting the living entity. Living entity actually is transcendental, okay? But they are conditioned here. How? They're conditioned of cause and effect. And they become responsible for the activity because they are coming in contact with the Rajogun. That is the, core issues here. That how he is getting bound. That is because he is coming in contact with the Rajogun. And as soon as he is coming in contact with the Rajogun, immediately he becomes lust. So in this way, he is getting captured. So if you see in Chit Shakti, Maya Shakti, Jiva Shakti, Ara. His potencies are also unlimited as Krishna himself. Chit Shakti is spiritual potency, material potency, and marginal potency. There are three things, three potencies. Chit Shakti is the spiritual potency, that is manifestation of the spiritual world, and material potency is the manifestation of the material world. Marginal potency, that we are living entities, we are marginal potency. Why it is marginal? Because we belong to spiritual potency only, but we have got a tendency to come into contact of this material potency. Therefore, we are called a marginal potency, this way or that way. That slight independence, which is there in every living entity, he can use that or misuse that. He may select either to live in the spiritual potency or he can select to live in the material potency. Therefore, the living entities are called marginal potency. Parashya Saktir Vividaiva Sruyate. So, the Supreme Lord has nothing to do. Nothing is equal to him, nor anything is greater than him. He acts in different phases by manifesting his parts and parcels. They are all simultaneously differently situated by his unlimited variegated potencies. And each potency acts quite naturally in sequences, providing him full knowledge, power, and pastimes. So that is how these things are. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Vaikunta, just like this universe is Jagadanda. It's a big round ball, anda. Anda means egg-like, just like egg is round. Therefore, it is called Brahmanda. It is a round ball. Every planet is round, and the universe is also round, and the Vaikunthas are also round, all around only. Vaikunta, Brahmanda, Ganasakti, Harya, Haya. So all these universes, the universe which you experience, there are innumerable universes that we cannot see. We can see only one universe, and in one universe, there are innumerable planets. Similarly, there are innumerable universes. And in each universe, there are innumerable planets also. In Brahma Samhita, we get Yasya Prabha Prabhavato Jagadhanda Koti Swashesha Vasudabhi Vibhuti Bhinnam Tad Brahmanishkalam Anantam Ashesha Bhutam Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So, that Brahma Jyoti, there are all the universes and Vaikunthas, they're all resting. They're resting in that Brahma Jyoti, just like the sunshine. So many planets are resting. Similarly, in the Brahma Jyoti, the personal shining of Lord Krishna, in that shining, which is called Brahma Jyoti, all the universes and Vaikunthas, planets or universes, they are all resting. And the universes, the material universes are only 3/4 in quantity, 6 quant. So a very small Vaikuntha universes, 3/4. All the universes taken together of this material world, it's only 1/4. So Vaikuntha is Brahmanda Gunasakti Karyahaya. These universes and the Brahmandas, Vaikunthas, they are manifestation of the energy of the Supreme Lord. Krishna is all pervading in this way. It doesn't mean that he lost his identification. So he is everywhere. He is all pervading. So he is also a person. So the personality of God is perfect and is complete because he is completely perfect. All emanations from him, like this phenomenal world, are also perfectly equipped as complete whole. Purnamada Purnamas. Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Avasishyate. So, Parashishakte Vividaiva Sruyate. They have been summarized into three categories: the external energy, the internal energy, and the marginal potency. And the marginal potency that we are. Vishnu Shaktir Para Prokta Kshetra Jnakya Tatha Para Avidya Karma Samjnanya Tritiya Shaktir Ishyate. Vishnu Puran says, everyone is in ignorance. Avidya, even Brahma was ignorant until he was given knowledge by Krishna. So no one could be proud of his knowledge. Everyone in this material world is a fool. A particular living entity desires, if I can get the opportunity to obtain the post of Brahma, then I can create big universe. This receives the body of Brahma. And the small insect is thinking, if I can create a small hole within this room, then I can live very peacefully and eat. Brahma desires to create a universe. We desire to create skyscraper, and an ant desire to create a hole in a room. The quality of work is the same. We are all fools. However, because we don't realize that because these things are material, they will not last. So because of the ignorance, we are thinking this will be very nice. Kama karma be. We create some desire, kama. Then we work accordingly. And this result in so many difficulties. Klishyanti, klesha. To become Brahma is not very easy thing. Brahma is such a big post. It's given to a very qualified living entity who is highly advanced in austerities and penance. But he is also a living entity like us. So like that. Kita janma huwa yata tuvadas bahirmukha Brahma janme nahi as. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, let me become an insect in a place where your devotee is present, because if I fall down in the dust of the feet of the devotee, my life will be successful. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is telling, Bahirmukha Brahma janme nahi ash. I would not want to be a Brahma and not be a devotee of Krishna. So, we forget Krishna. So, we always engage in Krishna consciousness so that we will not forget Krishna. So that is indicated by even Kunti Devi. Sravanas Smarana Arhani. Sravana means hearing, Smarana means remembering, Arhana means worshipping the deity of Krishna. So in this way. So here in these words very clearly stated how the three gunas are forcing this transcendental living entity under the conditions of cause and effect, and make him responsible for such activities, so he is entangled in the birth, death, old age, disease. This is because of we are in the Tatastha Shakti, we are in the marginal potency, tendency to fall. And somehow or the other, we have fallen into this material existence. And then behind the material manifestations, there are Adi Bhuta, Adi Atma, Adi Daiva. Arjuna was asking the question, what is Adi Bhuta, what is Adi Daiva, what is Adi Atma, what is Adi Yajna, all these things. And Krishna is answering in 8th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So, these are all, because of the cause and effect entanglement, the birth, death, old age, and diseases. Or the Bhuta manifestation that gives you the repetition of birth, death, old age, and disease. Or the Atma manifestation. So, and Adi Daiva manifestation, controlling the whole system. So, in this way, cause and effect in which the three modes are manifesting, and they completely baffle this conditioned soul. And a human being loses or misuses his freedom to the conditioned state. So this is going on. We'll go to the next verse. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 5, verse 20. Sa esha bhagavallingais
Sa esha bhagavan lingam
tribir etair adokshacha
tribirete
Tayadokshja
swalakshita gatir brahman
Swalakshitagatir Brahman
sarvesham mama cheshvara
Sarvesham Mama Sheshvara
sa esha bhagavallingais
Taresh Bhagavalingais
tribir etair adokshacha
tribirete
Trividetai Adoksaja
swalakshita gatir brahman
Swalakshitagatir Brahman
sarvesham mama cheshvara
Sarvesham Mama Sheshvara
sa esha bhagavallingais
Taresh Bhagavalingais
tribir etairadoksacha
Adoksaja
swalakshita gatir brahman
Swalakshitagatir Brahman
sarvesham mama cheshvara.
Sarvesham Mama Sheshvara
Please recite.
स एष भगवाल्लिङ्गैः
Sa esha bhagavallingais
त्रिभिरेतैरधोक्षजा
tribir etairadoksacha
स्वलक्षितगतिर्ब्रह्मन्
swalakshita gatir brahman
सर्वेषां मम चेश्वर
sarvesham mama cheshvara. Synonyms. Sa, he,
स हि
Isha, this,
एकोदेश
Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead,
Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead,
Lingaihi, by the symptoms,
linked by the symptoms,
Tribihi, by the three,
Tribhi by the three,
Etaihi, by all these,
Etai by all these,
Adokshada, the superseer transcendence,
Adoktaja, the supersede transcendence,
Sualakshita, veritably unseen,
Su alakshita, veritably unseen,
Gati, moment,
Gati, movement,
Brahman, O Narda,
Brahman, O Narada,
Sarvesham of everyone,
Sarvesham of everyone,
Mama, mine,
Mama, mine,
Cha, as also,
Cha, and also,
Ishvara, the controller.
Ishvara, the controller.
Translation, please repeat after me. O Brahmana Narada,
O Brahmana Narada,
the superseer, the transcendent Lord is beyond the perception of the material senses,
the supersede transcendental Lord is beyond the perception of the material senses,
of the living entities,
of the entities,
because of the above mentioned three modes of nature.
because of the above mentioned three modes of nature.
But he is the controller of everyone, including me.
But he is the controller of everyone, including me.
Purport.
In the Bhagavad Gita 7.2425, the Lord has declared very clearly that the impersonalist who gives more importance to the transcendental rays of the Lord as Brahma Jyoti and who concludes that the absolute truth is ultimately impersonal and only manifests a form at a time of necessity is less intelligent than the personalist. However much the impersonalist may be engaged in studying the Vedanta, the fact is that such impersonalists are covered by the above mentioned three modes of material nature. Therefore, they are unable to approach the transcendental personality of the Lord. The Lord is not approachable by everyone because he is curtained by his Yoga Maya potency. But one should not wrongly conclude that the Lord was formerly unmanifested and has now manifested himself in the human form. This misconception of the formlessness of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is due to the Yoga Maya curtain of the Lord and can be removed only by the Supreme Will. As soon as the conditioned soul surrenders unto him, the devotees of the Lord, who are transcendental to the above mentioned three modes of material nature, can see the all blissful transcendental form of the Lord with their vision of love in the attitude of pure devotional service.
Hari Om Tat Sat Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochaneina. So, how to see Lord Krishna? Only by the mercy of the pure transcendental devotees. Take shelter of the pure devotee, the spiritual master, because he is the seer of the absolute truth. He has seen Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so he can reveal him to us. That is the only process. Otherwise, these three modes of material nature is putting the curtain, and the Lord cannot be visible to us, or we cannot perceive through any senses. That is the reason he is called Adokshaja. Adokshaja means one who cannot be perceived through senses. So Tribir Eter Adokshaja. So this Adokshaja, he is the transcendental lord to three modes of material nature, and Nabhavet Grahyam Indriyaha. He is not visible or perceivable to the blunt senses of the material conditioned souls. But by the mercy of the spiritual master, who is transcendent, who is above three modes of material nature. So when you come in contact with the spiritual master through devotional service, by getting initiated by him, then you have got 100% chance to remove that wheel of Maya and see Krishna face to face. This is possible because he is only available to the transcendental senses. Bhaktya mama bijanati. Only he is available to the pure devotees. So when you take shelter of a pure devotee, you have as much a chance as himself to see Krishna and transact with Krishna. So that is the reason why accepting a bona fide spiritual master while practicing Krishna consciousness is very, very important. In fact, the most significant step in the process of yourself and God realization is to accept a bona fide spiritual master, surrender unto him, and serve him nicely. So only by that means you will be able to surpass the curtain which covers Krishna from you. So this is very clear in this particular verse. So what is the time now? 8:50. We'll do one more sloka. Go to the next one. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 5, verse 21. Kalam karma swabhavam cha
कालं कर्म स्वभावं च
mayesho mayaya swaya
मानीषो मायया स्वया
atman yadruchaya praptam
आत्मन् यदृक्षया प्राप्तं
vibhubhushur upadade.
विभुभूसुरुपाददे
Kalam karma swabhavam cha
कालं कर्म स्वभावं च
mayesho mayaya swaya
मायेषो मायया स्वया
atman yadruchaya praptam
आत्मन् यदृक्षया प्राप्तं
vibhubhushur upadade.
विभुभूसुरुपाददे.
Kalam karma swabhavam cha.
कालं कर्म स्वभावं च
Mayesho mayaya swaya.
मायेशो मायया स्वया
Atmanyadruchaya praptam.
आत्मन्यदृक्षया प्राप्तं
Vibhubushur upadade.
विभुभूषुरुपाददे
Yeah, please recite.
कालं कर्म स्वभावं च
Kalam karma swabhavam cha.
मायेशो मायया स्वया
Mayesho mayaya swaya.
आत्मन्यदृक्षया प्राप्तं
Atmanya
Yadrikshya praptam.
विभुसुरुपाददे
Vibhubushur upadade.
Vibhurupadite.
Synonyms. Kalam, eternal time.
कालम eternal time
Time.
Karma, the fate of the living entity.
karma the fate of the living entity
Swabhavam, nature.
स्वभाव nature
Nature.
Cha, also.
Also,
Maya, potency.
potential
Maya potency.
Isha, the controller.
Isha the controller
Maya, by the energy.
Maya by the energy
Swaya, of his own.
Swaya of his own
Um,
Atmani, unto his self.
Atman and
Atma to him.
Yadruchaya, independently.
Yadrikshaya independently
Praptam, being merged in.
Praptam being merged in
Merged.
Vibhubhushu, appearing differently.
Vibhubhushu appearing differently
Upadade, accepted for being created again.
Upadade accepted for being created again
Translation, please repeat after me. The Lord, who is the controller of all energies, thus creates by his own potency.
The Lord, who is the
Lord,
controller of all energies, thus
energy,
created by his own potency,
potency.
Eternal time, the fate of all living entities, and their particular nature.
eternal
Eternal
time,
time.
the
The
fate of
fate
all
of
living entities, and their particular nature,
For which they were created, and he again merges them independently.
for which
for
they
which
were created,
they
and he again merges them independently.
Purport.
purport, the creation of the material world wherein the conditioned souls are allowed to act subordinately by the Supreme Lord takes place again and again after being repeatedly annihilated. The material creation is something like a cloud in the unlimited sky. The real sky is the spiritual sky, eternally filled with the rays of the Brahmajyoti, and a portion of this unlimited sky is covered by the Mahatattva cloud of the material creation, in which the conditioned souls who want to lord it against the will of the Lord are put into play as they desire under the control of the Lord by the agency of his external energy. As the rainy season appears and disappears regularly, the creation takes place and is again annihilated under the control of the Lord, as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 8.19. So the creation and annihilation of the material worlds is a regular is a regular action of the Lord just to allow the conditioned souls to play as they like and thereby create their own fate of being differently created again in terms of their independent desires at the time of annihilation. The creation therefore takes place at a historical date, as we are accustomed to think of everything which has a beginning in our tiny experience. The process of creation and annihilation is called anadi, or without reference to date regarding the time the creation first took place, because the duration of even a partial creation is, oh my God, what is this? 8 billion.
8,640 crores.
Okay. 8,640 crore years. The law of creation is, however, as mentioned in the Vedic literatures, that it is created at certain intervals and is again annihilated by the will of the Lord. The whole material or even the spiritual creation is a manifestation of the energy of the Lord, just as the light and heat of a fire are different manifestations of the fire's energy. The Lord therefore exists in his impersonal form by such expansion of energy, and the complete creation rests on his impersonal feature. Nonetheless, he keeps himself distinct from such creation as the Purnam or complete, and so on. No one should wrongly think that his personal feature is not existent due to his impersonal unlimited expansions. The impersonal expansion is a manifestation of his energy and is always in personal feature. I'm so sorry. And he is always in his personal feature, despite his innumerable unlimited expansions of the impersonal energies. Bhagavad Gita 9.5 through 7. For human intelligence, it is very difficult to conceive how the whole creation rests on his expansion of energy. But the Lord has given a very good example in the Bhagavad Gita. It is said that although the air and the atoms rest within the huge expansion of the sky, which is like the resting reservoir of everything materially created, still the sky remains separate and unaffected. Similarly, although the Supreme Lord maintains everything created by his expansion of energy, he always remains separate. This is accepted even by Shankaracharya, the great advocate of the impersonal form of the Absolute. He says Narayana Parovyakta or Narayana exists separately, apart from the impersonal creative energy. The whole creation thus merges within the body of transcendental Narayana at the time of annihilation, and the creation emanates from his body again, with the same unchanging categories of fate and individual nature. The individual living entities, being parts and parcels of the Lord, are sometimes described as Atma, or qualitatively one in spiritual constitution. But because such living entities are apt to be created to the material creation, uh, actively and subjectively, they are therefore different from the Lord.
Hari Om Tat Sat. Very beautiful purport. Brahma is saying Narada that how everything is actually created by Lord Krishna only and not by Lord Brahma. He is very clearly telling controller of all the energy, both spiritual and material, is Krishna. And by his own energy only he is creating. Even time is created by Krishna. And the fate of all living entities are also created by Krishna. And nature of the living entity is also created by Krishna. And he leaves them independently after creating all these things. So, very, very
Hare Krishna Preeti.
I think, sir, got disconnected.
Prabhuji got disconnected, but he does know that, right? He got disconnected, bolke.
Yeah, I
Because,
think.
yeah, because the Zoom thing will be closed for him. Veda based page would be open, and by now he should have joined, right?
Uh, I will ping
Anyway,
him.
wait. Yeah, Prabhuji's back.
So, he places them under the guidance of the material nature. Actually, the living entities, they are part and parcel of Krishna. And they have two varieties. One is called Nitya Mukta, another is Nitya Baddha. The Nitya Mukta are eternally liberated souls. So they are eternally engaged in the reciprocation of the transcendental loving devotional service to Krishna in his eternal abode, which is beyond all this manifested mundane creation. But on the other hand, we are Nitya Baddha, who are eternally conditioned souls. We are interested to their Krishna's external energy, Maya, and reflection of the rebellious attitude toward the Supreme Father Krishna. So the Nitya Baddhas, we are eternally forgetful of the relation with our relation with Krishna as part and parcels. And we are bewildered by the illusory energy as products of matter, thinking ourselves with the body, identifying oneself with the body as all in all. So busy making plans in this material world to become happy. And so many plans we are making. And by the will of the Lord, both the plan makers as well as the plans, both will be annihilated at the end of the certain period. So this is going on again and again. So in Bhagavad Gita, it is said, O son of Kunti, at the end of the millennium, all the living entities merge into my nature. And again, when the time of creation is ripe, I begin creation by the agency of my external energy. So again and again, it is done. So that is very clearly mentioned in this particular translation. So that is a process of creation, maintenance, and annihilation. This is going on perpetually by the external energy of the Lord. He is the cause of everything. But the living beings who are constitutionally part and parcel of Krishna, they are forgetful of the sweet relation. So they are given a chance again and again to get rid of these clutches of the external energy, so that we can revive our original consciousness, Krishna consciousness. And these Vedic instructions, literatures are the guiding directions for the conditioned state soul, so that how to get free from the repetition of creation and annihilation. That's why in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, this created world and material energy are under my control. Under the influence of Prakriti, automatically they are created again and again. So actually, the spiritual spark, which is a living entity, he has nothing to do with material names or forms. But just to fulfill their desire of lording over material nature, he had to take these forms and names. And they are given a chance for such false enjoyment. Okay, choose your independent, try to enjoy. You cannot enjoy without Krishna. So false enjoyment, you make an attempt. At the same time, you are also given a chance to understand your real constitutional position through the scriptures. Bhagavad Gita, Krishna coming and speaking. But these foolish people, forgetting everything, always busy with the forms and false names. Ism, nationalism, imperialism, colonialism, capitalism, communism, this ism, that ism. So this culmination of such false names and false forms. So these people are mad after this false name and form. And the form of body obtained under certain condition, that is taken up as factual, where it is temporary. And it bewilders the conditioned soul into misusing the energy in the name of so many isms. So Bhagavad Gita should be taken as a guiding principle for all human beings. But by the spell of material energy, they don't take care to carry out the programs of life in terms of Bhagavad Gita. And Srimad Bhagavatam, this is a postgraduate study of knowledge, so that one can thoroughly understand the principles of Bhagavad Gita once, and then they can come to taste this particular transcendental ecstasy in Srimad Bhagavatam. So the living entities are the enjoyers of the material ingredients, time, modes, and so on and so forth, because they want to lord it over the material nature. And the Lord is the supreme enjoyer. Living entities are meant to assist the Lord in his enjoyment, thus participate in the transcendental enjoyment of everyone. So, the enjoyer and the enjoyed both participate in the enjoyment. But because of the delusion under the illusory energy, the conditioned state, in the conditioned state, the living entities want to become the enjoyer like the Lord, although they are not meant for such enjoyment. So the jivas are mentioned in Bhagavad Gita as the Lord's superior nature, para prakriti. It is also mentioned in Vishnu Purana. So the living entities are never the Purushas. The factual enjoyer can only be Krishna. The spirit of enjoyment by the living entity in the material world is actually false. The spiritual world, the living entities are pure in nature and they are associating in the enjoyment of the Supreme Lord. Thus they can enjoy. By joining in the enjoyment of Krishna, they can enjoy. Independently, they cannot enjoy. So, in the material world, the spirit of enjoyment of the living entities by dint of their own karma, fate, actions. So that will fade by the laws of nature and illusory energy will dictate in the years of the conditioned soul that they should become one with the Lord. So this is how they are baffled here. So Brahma is explaining how these creations have taken place not by Brahma but by Krishna. To Narada, he is explaining very nicely. And Prabhupada is explaining the nature of the creations and post and pre-creations, status of the living entities and so on. So, and ultimately, we should be attracted to the Supreme Personality of Godhead because Krishna is all attractive and we are part and parcel of Krishna. So taking this particular Bhakti Yoga is the only process. Otherwise, Brahma Bona Loka. Even if you go to Brahma Loka and live for such a long duration that you cannot even imagine, the death is for sure. You'll have to again come back to the earth. So this is the conditioned state. So the best course of action is somehow or the other we have fallen being the marginal potency owing to the tendency we fall into the wrong ditch. So we have to climb from here by the mercy of spiritual master by practicing pure unalloyed loving devotion service to Adokshaja, Krishna, and then go back home, back to Godhead. Thank you very much. Any questions or comments or realization, please do share with us. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Thank you very much. So let's resume our class tomorrow morning after 8 o'clock. Till then, Grandhara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Patita Pawan Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Vaishnav Pranam. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhu patitanam pavanebhyo. Jai Shri Guru Maharaj ki jai. Nitai
Jai.
Gauri Manande Hari 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 Niva. Thank